Welcome to the Kitsap Publishing Deep Dive podcast with myself, Jack Bennett, and Emily Waters. Join us as we explore books, current events, history, politics, health, and more. Let's dive in.
All right. Buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of EVs.
And we aren't talking about spooky apparitions.
No, not today.
We're talking about electric vehicles.
Those sleek, silent machines you've probably seen around.
Yeah, those. And today we are going to help you navigate the road to EV ownership.
Especially if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with all the choices out there.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Because let's be real, the idea of just zipping past those gas stations
Yeah.
where your car runs on sunshine is seriously cool.
Pretty great.
But before you trade in that gas guzzler,
Please don't do anything rash.
we're going to unpack The Future is Electric by Ingemar Alexander Anderson.
This book is your roadmap to understanding if this whole EV thing is really more than just hype.
Yeah, is it here to stay?
Well, after this deep dive, you decide,
Exactly.
and you might be surprised to learn that EVs actually have a richer history than many people realize.
For real? Tell me more.
Oh yeah, this isn't some newfangled fad.
Okay.
The book actually takes it all the way back to the very first electric car,
Wow, I had no idea.
back in the 1800s.
Seriously?
Yeah. Picture this, you're cruising down the road, no gas required.
In the 1800s? That's wild.
I know, right?
Were they popular back then?
You know, they had their moment. In the early 1900s, EVs were a pretty big hit, especially among women.
Wait, really? Why is that?
Well, compared to those big, clunky gas guzzlers back then,
Yeah,
EVs were seen as cleaner, quieter, and way easier to handle.
makes sense.
It's really interesting how those early trends, perceptions of the vehicles, and of course the technology,
Yeah.
they all intertwine.
It makes me wonder if those early adopters had any idea just how big this whole EV thing would become.
It really does. It's like they were ahead of their time.
And speaking of technology, I have to admit,
What's that?
the inner workings of EVs can feel a bit like a mystery.
Sure.
Even for someone like me who loves to geek out on this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It can be a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the future is electric is that it breaks everything down in a way that anyone can understand.
Okay,
It
good.
lays out all the core components, the battery, the electric motor, and how they all work together.
It's like magic, but with science.
Exactly, but without a drop of gasoline.
Right. And speaking of science and magic,
Uh-oh, where are you going with this?
this book blew my mind with this little fun fact. Nikola Tesla,
Yeah.
you know the guy?
The legend himself.
Yes. Tesla was instrumental in developing the AC motor,
He was way ahead of his time.
which is the same type of motor used in most EVs today.
That's right.
It's like history repeating itself, but in a really, really cool way.
Absolutely. And what's even more interesting is that so many people just associate Tesla with those cutting-edge EVs today.
Right.
They don't realize he was fundamental in developing the tech itself.
The OG.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And it just goes to show, sometimes innovation isn't about reinventing the wheel.
Yeah,
It's about taking those existing building blocks and pushing them further.
totally.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk practicality.
Okay, sure.
Because at the end of the day, you're probably wondering about the financial side of all this, right?
Well, yeah, of course. It's a big decision.
For sure. And it's a valid concern for anyone thinking about going electric.
Absolutely.
So let's talk money.
Let's do it.
The book dives right into the nitty-gritty details.
Good.
Fuel savings,
Yes.
lower maintenance because EVs have fewer moving parts.
So fewer trips to the mechanic.
Exactly. And don't forget about government incentives.
Oh, right. Those are a big deal.
Potentially putting money back in your pocket.
Music to my ears.
And you can't forget about resale value.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
EVs are holding their value really well.
I like the sound of that.
It all adds up.
And you know what else adds up?
Tell me more.
Savings. The book shares this anecdote. The author saved $1,200
On.
fuel costs
Wow.
in just 4 months of driving their Tesla.
That's impressive.
I know. Imagine having an extra $1,200 just from ditching gas.
That's a nice chunk of change.
It really highlights something the book emphasizes. When comparing EVs to gas-powered cars,
Yeah.
you can't just look at that initial sticker price.
Right.
You have to consider the total cost of ownership over time.
Absolutely.
That's where EVs really shine.
I totally agree.
But we can't talk about EVs without addressing the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah. The dreaded range anxiety.
It's real.
It's a common concern, for sure.
But don't worry. The Future is Electric tackles this head-on,
Good.
and it offers some pretty compelling arguments.
Like what?
Well, for starters, it demystifies the whole charging process.
Okay, good.
Because let's be honest, figuring out charging levels and finding stations
Yeah.
can feel like learning a whole new language.
It can be a little overwhelming, for sure. Thankfully, The Future is Electric breaks it down in a really easy-to-understand way.
Like what?
You'll learn about the different charging levels, level 1, level 2, and DC fast charging.
Right.
And you'll get a clear picture of what each level means for you.
In terms of like how long it takes to charge.
Exactly. Like how long until you're back on the road.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it goes beyond just the technical stuff.
Oh.
The author actually shares their experience of switching from a Nissan Leaf, which had more limited charging options,
Okay.
to a Tesla.
I've heard good things about their charging network.
Yeah, they were totally blown away by how easy and convenient it was to charge using Tesla's supercharger network.
Really? That's a game changer.
Right. Imagine being able to road trip without stressing about finding charging stations along the way.
That's the dream.
Right. No more range anxiety.
But it all comes back to having a solid charging infrastructure, right?
Absolutely. That's key for a good EV experience.
It's like you wouldn't buy a gas car if there weren't gas stations around.
Exactly. The same goes for EVs.
So true. Now, what about the cool stuff? What about those futuristic features?
Oh, The Future is Electric covers that too.
Fill me in.
We're talking massive touch screens, the ability to control your car from your phone,
No way. What can you do from your phone?
like locking or unlocking the doors, preheating the car on those chilly mornings.
That's awesome.
Even the potential for self-driving features.
Whoa, hold on. Self-driving?
It's coming. EVs are pushing the boundaries of what a car can be.
Now we're talking. And regenerative braking? That just sounds cool.
It's really neat.
What is it?
It actually captures energy while you're braking downhill.
Seriously?
It puts energy back into your battery as you go downhill.
Wow. So you're basically getting free energy while driving downhill.
In a way, yeah. And the book has this great anecdote about the author driving through the California mountains.
Okay.
And they actually gained battery charge on the descents.
Get out of here. No way.
It's pretty amazing. EV technology is creating this whole new driving experience that's both efficient and exciting.
That sounds pretty incredible, but it's not all about the bells and whistles, right?
Right. The Future is Electric also paints a very hopeful vision for EVs and their role in a more sustainable world.
Okay, I like where this is going.
It really highlights how switching to electric vehicles can help combat climate change.
Yeah, because we'd be less reliant on fossil fuels.
Exactly. And there's this fascinating comparison in the book between EVs today
Okay.
and the shift from horse-drawn carriages to automobiles back in the day.
Oh, interesting.
It shows these big shifts in technology and transportation have happened before.
We've been here before.
And we're on the verge of another one right now with EVs.
So for someone listening who's interested in EVs,
Yeah.
what does all of this mean for them?
Well, if this deep dive has you ready to take the plunge,
Okay.
The Future is Electric has even more advice to offer.
It's like the book knows exactly what questions are swirling around in your head.
It's true.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things is that it has a used EV buying guide.
That's awesome, especially for folks who are looking for a more, shall we say, budget-friendly option.
Exactly. It's all about making EVs accessible to everyone.
I love that. And what else? Did this book have anything else up its sleeve?
Oh, there's more. You even get to hear from other EV owners.
No way. Really?
Yep. They share all their experiences, the good, the bad, and everything in between.
So it's kind of like getting advice from people who've already been there, done that.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the book goes even deeper into the environmental and economic side of making the switch.
So it's really about understanding the bigger picture, huh?
Exactly. It's not just about a car.
It's about being part of a movement.
Exactly. And that's at the heart of what The Future is Electric argues, this EV revolution.
Yeah.
It's not just about the cars themselves. It's about transforming how we power the world.
That's a powerful thought.
It is, and it's something we can all be a part of.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for our listeners.
What's that?
If the future of transportation really is electric,
Yeah.
what role will you play?
It's a big question.
It is. Will you be one of the first to embrace the electric frontier? A thoughtful observer? Maybe even an advocate for making EVs accessible to everyone?
The choice is yours.
It is. But no matter what you decide, I hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and confidence to navigate the exciting world of EVs.
Absolutely. You've gone from EV curious to EV savvy in just a few minutes.
And if you're ready to plug into even more EV insights, be sure to check out The Future is Electric.
It's a fantastic read.
Until next time, keep those wheels turning sustainably, of course.
Thank you for listening to the Kitsap Publishing Deep Dive Podcast. Emily Waters and I will see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.